We have got a new foundation on the block. It's the new Anastasia Impeccable foundation. What's the long name of it? Impeccable Blurring Second Skin Matte Foundation. Let's talk about this, let's apply this, and let's wear test this today. If you are new here, hi, I'm Rhoda, welcome. And if you have returned, hi again. I film in natural light, so I'm going to take this wear test as long as I possibly can before the sun goes away. But before we get into all of that, let's talk about the claims of this new foundation. Actually, before we get into the claims, I want to show you this really beautiful bottle. It's like a frosted glass. It's very thick, very weighty, very luxurious. So the bottle, the packaging, beautiful A plus there. This foundation is $46 US and $62 Canadian. It originally launched on the ABH website, but is now available on the Sephora website, but online only from what I can see. This is a medium to full coverage matte foundation, but claims to be very skin-like and very lightweight. It's supposed to control oil, and it also is supposed to hydrate. Second skin finish, velvet matte finish. It says it's blurring, has 12-hour wear. It's blendable, it's breathable, it's matte without looking heavy or cakey. This is what they say. It comes in 25 shades. I had a hard time picking my shade, but we'll see. This formula also is meant for all skin types. So let's see, I have normal skin, sometimes dry, sometimes oily. If I do get oily, it will only be in my T-zone. Doesn't happen all the time. I don't get dry all the time. It's very seasonal and it happens every once in a while. So I have normal skin just for reference. So let me pump a little bit out so I can show you the consistency of it. And I do fear that I've picked the wrong shade, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna roll with it because this is all we got. I'm gonna give this a little shaky doodles and let's see the consistency of this foundation. I chose the shade 3N. It's quite thick. It's not a runny foundation at all. Very thick, but doesn't feel heavy. But as you can see, shade 3N looks very dark for me. Very dark for me. I don't like it. I don't like it, but this is all we got and this is what we're going to work with. But I just wanted to spread it just to show you what it looks like on a swatch. It does not feel heavy. It does feel nice and light, as thick as it is. And as you can see, the coverage is definitely there. Of course, it's only on my hand, but you get a good sense of what a foundation is like by doing this. At least I do. I can tell you right now that this is not my shade, no. Okay, let's get to applying this and doing the wear test. As always, I apply primer to one side of my face when I am testing out a foundation. That way I can see if a primer helps or doesn't help or isn't necessary at all. So I'll be doing that again today. I do have my brows done, I have my eye makeup done, obviously, and I do have concealer on. Today I use the Anastasia, why not? The Primrose palette, this palette right here. And I hadn't used it in so long, and as old as it is pretty old, okay? But it performed beautifully, I gotta tell you that much. I thought I'd whip it out for the occasion. And for concealer, I use the Mario, the Makeup by Mario, and I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. And I'm really confused because I actually did like that concealer at one point, but today is not working for me. I'm really not loving my under eyes today, but I'm going to give it one more shot tomorrow. And if it doesn't work, we're going to break up. It's going to be over between me and Mario, okay? Anyway, that's what I have on my face. Nothing else, just my morning skincare. I chose the Pat McGrath primer to use today on one half of my face because I'm scared. Like, I'm scared that this is going to be too matte. Even though it claims that it's hydrating and all that, the Pat McGrath primer is not mattifying, but it's not too moisturizing either. I'm going to apply to this side of my face. It's not too moisturizing either. It's just a really nice, beautiful primer, very lightweight. I enjoy it very much, but I would say, like, compared to my Tom Ford Soft Matte, which I reach for it daily, this one has you know, a little bit more of a moisturizing property to it, but nothing over the top at all. I felt it was more appropriate to try this foundation with, although we may find that we don't really need primer because they claim that you can go straight in, no primer, no problem. Well, we shall see because I'm not putting any primer on this side of my face. What I will do is I will apply this way too dark foundation on this side of my face first while the primer settles down, and then that way you can see a side by side what it looks like on the face versus not having anything on. I'm going to pump out one and a half pumps on the back of my hand. I'm going to grab my BK Beauty 101 brush. I'm going to apply with a brush on this side, and on this side I brought out my sponge. I want to see if there's a difference there as well. So I'm just going to get this all saturated in my brush. Oh, that's so dark. It's so dark. You know, when I went on Sephora, that's the shade, this shade 3N. That's what they matched me with online. Shade match, shade match. And I was like, really? Are you sure? It was hard to choose because the next neutral shade looked a little bit too light. Can we ignore the fact that this is definitely not my shade? It's not at all. I just pumped like another half pump. So I think you do need like 2 pumps for this. I am getting a nice coverage off the bat. Very nice coverage. It is covering everything. And if I ignore that this is not my shade, is it? I don't know. I don't think so. It looks a little bit too dark. Definitely looks a little bit too dark. Now this is going to throw me off because I'm not going to like the shade on me, but I'm going to try to be very, very, very fair. I'm going to try and be very, very fair and just focus on the properties of the foundation. Okay, that went on very quickly. That went on very, very easily. And it covered everything I needed to cover. So just one layer. I do not have to go in to build up. So definitely medium to full, but like more on the fuller side, I would say. I like the way that my skin is looking. It does not look heavy. It does not look cakey. It doesn't look matte either. This is supposed to be a matte foundation, but a velvet matte natural. Well, and it's not sticky. It's not sticky right away. It's not sticky. Like there's no tack at all. This has adhered to my skin and it looks good. It looks really, really, really good. I'm just bringing this down my neck because you know why. All right, so one side of the face with two pumps of the foundation, and ignoring the shade, I think it looks really, really good. This side has nothing, just the primer. So now we'll go on and apply on this side. But on this side, I want to use a sponge. Even when I use a sponge, I put on the back of my hand, drag a little bit down, just disperse it. I don't like going in, like I see people putting like a mound of foundation on the back of their sponge. Where is it going? Where is it all going? I always do this. I find it gives the smoothest, most even application. Sorry if you do that. I don't want to offend anybody, but I just find doing it this way works for me. Really nice, even application. I would expect a little bit of a lighter application with the sponge, given that it will eat up a lot of the product, but no. I am getting the exact same finish, the exact same look, the exact same coverage using a sponge or a brush. You have your choice there, whatever you prefer, because no, that was really easy, really, really simple, really very nice. But you know what? I gotta go into the mirror. You know the one. No, this does not sticky. I didn't expect it to be very, very sticky because it is a matte, but I didn't expect it to dry down that quickly. I hope it's not drying. We'll see. We'll see. I want to show you the back of my hand. You see this here? It wasn't that dark when I first put it on, or was it? I have a feeling this might oxidize. I have a feeling, but we'll wait. We'll wait and see, because do you see this? That concerns me. That concerns me, but we'll see. We've only just applied. Let's give it a chance. Everything looks extremely smooth. It is full coverage. It's full coverage, so I can definitely see it. I'm in a 10 times mirror as well. Of course I can see it. But taking that into consideration, it's not cakey. It does not feel heavy at all. It doesn't feel heavy at all. I just wish that the shade was better. But now that I'm looking at it, is it that bad? Is it? I don't know. I feel very confused about the shade, but yeah, no, it's dark. It's too dark for me. It's too dark. I think I'm trying to wish it into a shade that's good for me. It's not. It's not. But let's look at the formula. The formula and how it looks on the skin. It looks really nice. One layer, I didn't have to build it up because it has such good coverage. And again, doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look heavy. It doesn't feel heavy. Dries down like that. Like that. And okay. You see this? I need to bring it down a little bit more. I do not like this shade, okay? I'm going to look back online and see what my other option would have been. There are 25 shades to choose from. So we have light, medium, and dark choices. I went with medium. When I'm looking at all the photos of the models, in the neutral category, I only see 3N and then 4N, which would have been way too dark for me. So that's why I chose 3N. There's also a 3W. Maybe I could have gone with that, but typically I will stick with a neutral shade. It always works for me. It really always works for me. Then the other possibility was 2N, light skin with neutral golden undertones. I didn't know. I thought that might be a little bit too light for me. And then the only other option is warm peach, 2.5 warm. Maybe that would have worked. I don't know. So hard to decide. So instead of getting a foundation that was too light for me, I went for 3N, which looked like it would have worked, but it doesn't. I was confused and crossed my fingers, went with the 3N, hoping that it was okay. But I went to go get a drink. I walked by the mirror and I was like, oh, you look orange. Mind you, the lighting's a little bit darker and different in the hallway that I passed by. But, looking at myself right now, I'm not loving the shade. But I'm not going to harp on that anymore. But I will harp on the fact that the shade range, it's limited, first of all. And second of all, the undertones in the light to the medium, there wasn't a neutral. There wasn't a neutral that I thought, yes. And I'm typically okay with picking shades online, but not this time. And there was no light to medium category. That's where I fall. There was either light or medium. I should have known. I should have known just to go with a 2N. But again, that may have been too light for me. I don't know. And you won't know either. You know why? Because it's available online only. So good luck. Okay? Just know if you are my shade twin, do not go for 3N. Will this work in the summertime when I do have a tan? I don't know. I don't know if the undertone is actually that neutral. To be honest with you, I won't know. I won't know until I do have a tan and try it on. But anyway, let's get on with the wear test. To powder or not to powder. Normally when I'm testing out a foundation, I'll powder one side of my face, the primed side. But I'm not going to do that today because I really feel zero need to do that. Zero need. It has completely dried down. It's set. It's all good in the hood, as they say. So no need for powder. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let this be on its own. I'm not going to add bronzer. I'm not going to add blush. I'm not going to add highlighter or anything like that. I am just going to let it be on its own. I want to see how this goes throughout the day. I am already seeing little patches that look like they're getting a little bit darker. So I do believe we might have a little oxidization issue. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm just seeing things. I don't know if it's the lighting, the angle, what it is. So I'm going to start the wear test and I'm going to check in as many times as I can throughout the day. I will be monitoring it. I'm going to take it as long as I possibly can. I do film in natural light, so as long as the day will allow me, that's how long I'm going to take this wear test. I really think I could easily squeeze in 9 hours at this point of wear time. Right now, it looks nice. It is full coverage. It does not look cakey. Like it doesn't look heavy, like I have a mask on at all. Feels very, very lightweight. I didn't have to build it up anywhere. And it's looking nice. I'll stop harping on the fact that the shade is definitely throwing me off, but I'm gonna look past that and just look at the foundation, how it performs, and I really, really hope it doesn't oxidize. Did I mention no bronzer, no blush, no powder, nothing like that? I just want to see what this does on its own throughout the day. I will see you in a second for you, but hours for me. We are at the 4-hour mark, so probably halfway through, as long as I can probably take this wear test. I'll try to take it as long as I possibly can. So this is what I'm noticing. I really have to get past the shade because the shade can really throw everything off. For example, I can see some patchiness around my mouth. I've had lunch, I've reapplied my gloss, but I can see like a little, little spots around my mouth. If the shade matched my skin, then it wouldn't be so prominent, right? So I do want to give it that. I am seeing like it's not dry patches, but I see some like almost like patchiness. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. And it's not dry patches or anything. So it's almost like it's darker in some areas and lighter in other areas. Not a crazy amount, but it's not as even. It's not as even as it was when I first applied it. So I do want to mention that kind of around my mouth, same kind of thing. Almost a little bit darker in some areas, lighter in other areas. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see. Hopefully you can see. Are my eyes deceiving me or is this a shade thing? I wish I had another shade to compare it to see what the differences might be. But anyway, that's what I'm seeing at the 4-hour mark. It's not bad. It's really not bad. I'm being really nitpicky here because I'm being nitpicky here. I am trying to really scrutinize this foundation to see what it can and cannot do. But is it still matte? It is matte, but it doesn't look matte. I'll tell you that much. It looks pretty natural. Does it look heavy? It's on the heavier side looking, foundation looking than I prefer, but it's not heavy looking, if that makes sense. I don't prefer this heavy of a coverage or this full of a coverage on myself. However, if you do, it doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look heavy, but there is coverage there. No oils coming through. This claims to be a blurring foundation. I don't find blurring properties. I don't find blurring properties to this foundation at all. It's not like my pores have disappeared. I can still see my pores, which is totally fine. They're not emphasized and they're not pronounced by this foundation, which is great, but it has not made them disappear. I'll tell you that much. And that's okay too. Again, totally a shade problem, which is completely throwing me off. But otherwise, still looking nice, hanging on. It's hanging on, except for there are some little areas of my face that look a little bit darker than others. Has it oxidized? Not a little bit, just a little bit, but I don't know why it's doing that in certain areas than others. The primed side versus the non-primed side, I don't see a difference. I don't see a difference. We'll see by the end of the day if that makes a difference. It is a very overcast, gloomy day, and although it's daytime, it's looking very, very dark as the minutes go by. So I'm going to take this as long as I can. I'll probably be able to squeeze in 8 hours. So I will see you in another 4 hours. All right, we have made it to 8 hours. A little bit more of the same. I really don't want to keep repeating myself, but everything I said in my last check-in kind of stands true. I don't know if you can see like a little bit of patchiness, a little bit of heaviness. I do prefer the side that I applied primer and used a sponge on. It doesn't look as heavy. Not that the other side looks really, really heavy, but if I had to compare them, I do prefer that side. So like I said, the shade is completely throwing me off and bringing things to my attention that normally wouldn't had the shade been a good match for me. So we're going to remember that as I give you my final thoughts on this. I wonder if because this is such a full coverage foundation that I should have gone ahead and added bronzer and added blush and done like a full face, because I don't think this is a foundation that I would use kind of just on its own for every day. This is very much a glam type of foundation, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I wonder if I had had a full face, if I would think differently about it or like it a little bit more. It's not that I dislike it. I don't dislike it. For a very full coverage foundation, it's very comfortable, very, very comfortable. Definitely lightweight. It's not blurring, but it doesn't emphasize anything you don't want emphasized. I don't like this kind of patchiness that I'm seeing over here and a little bit of heaviness around my mouth. But other than that, for a full coverage foundation, I keep on emphasizing a full coverage foundation. It is very lightweight. It does cover everything in one sweep. I didn't have to build up anywhere. I covered everything I wanted to cover. So that is a plus. Oh, I did want to say, I mentioned off the top that this was available now in Sephora, but it's also available at Ulta. I noticed, I keep on forgetting about Ulta because I'm in Canada and we don't have Ulta here, unfortunately. And I always forget about it. But I remembered to check, and it is also available on Ulta. It's so funny because I was chatting with a friend of mine here on YouTube, a fellow Canadian beauty content creator, and I was asking her about this foundation. She's currently testing it out. You should check her out. It's Christy Healy here on YouTube. She's awesome. She does really, really great reviews. Anyway, we were chatting and I asked her, how are you finding it? And what she had to say was very, very different from my experience. I think she's testing it out over a few days anyway. This is my first impression. Back to this foundation. I think I'm going to have to keep using and testing this foundation out, and I want to see it with a full face. I want to see it with my blush, with my bronzer, and everything done as if I want a full glam and test it out that way, because this definitely for me is not an everyday foundation for me personally, for my preferences. Overall, definitely feels very lightweight. It doesn't feel heavy for as full coverage as it is. 100% that is true. I can tell you that much. If you can find your shade, important. I really want to see if it's worth it for me to pick up another shade just to see what the difference is. And now that it's available on Sephora, I may actually do that because it is a nice foundation. It really is. So I may just go ahead and do that, and then I will definitely update you. Oh, in terms of oxidation, I was afraid it was going to really oxidize. It has just a little bit, but nothing crazy. I was very afraid that it was going to oxidize into a bright Oompa Loompa orange, but it hasn't done that. In terms of skin types that can use this foundation, I definitely do agree with their claim that this is for all skin types, despite its matte finish, which I don't find it to be super matte. It's matte, but it's not drying. So definitely if you're dry, you can use this. If you're normal, you can use this. And if you're oily, definitely you can use this. There have been a few foundations released in the past couple of weeks. So it's been the Dior Hydra Nude, which I already reviewed on my channel. I love it. Love it. This one, which I just reviewed. And then there's the Hourglass one, the illuminating skin tint. Is it a skin tint or a foundation? I can't remember. I've seen a few reviews on it and people seem to love it. But I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me. It doesn't look that great. It looks like one of those very sticky type of formulas. However, that's not to say that it is, okay? So if you guys want me to review it, I will pick it up. You just let me know. Give me the reason. Give me a reason to pick it up so I can review it. But as of now, it's not something that's calling to me or anything that looks to me like I might enjoy, because I haven't seen anything that has really, really wowed me. Of course, I'm going to continue to wear this for the next few hours for sure. And if anything major happens, if anything crashes and burns, I will definitely leave a comment either in the comment section or in the description box and let you know. I really wish I had the right shade. This review would have gone a completely different way, I think. I do suspect that. That is it. That is all for today. I really hope you found this helpful. As always, thank you so much for watching. Everything I have on my face today will be listed in the description box down below, along with links. If you choose to use those links, you support my channel, so I thank you very, very much. Please do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram. I'm over there too. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.